We chunked this one just like this. It's garbage, complete garbage. Waste $800. Welcome back to Mid-10, y'all. Yep, got side up over the combine. We went and checked corn. We're still about 7 days off, maybe 10 off most of the fields. We got one that's probably 5 days off. We can wait on it though. So we decided to do a little project on the combine. You know how it is. Might as well do something. So last year, you probably seen the video where we have took the gear case seal out and the rear main seal in the combine, replaced both of them. Did that a couple times to get everything changed.
Rear main engine seal.
Yeah, rear main engine seal. How many times have you taken it apart? 2 times? 3 times? 2 or 3 times. I don't know. It's in the video. I'll put a link up here to it because it's a pretty in-depth video. One of the longer ones we got. What we found when we got into last time is a power coupler between the motor and transmission, which would be this sucker right here. These rivets right here were bad on ours, and it had some tears in. It had some tears in this right here. And the rubber. So we're afraid it's gonna go out on us, go driving down the road. If that thing goes out, it's dead in the water. And we got to make one drive across the county to one field we got over there. So we want to get it changed. We got time, we're gonna take it apart, we're gonna put it in there. We ordered it last year, found a used one. It didn't come in until after the 3rd time we took this thing apart, so we didn't put it in last year.
It didn't come in until December till it was done.
Yeah, it didn't come in until December, did it?
Yep.
And we didn't do it this winter because we got logging. We didn't do it this spring before wheat because we got busy with hay, getting wheat. We got a little break now, we won't do it now. So we're probably not gonna film a whole lot of this. We'll film a little bit of it, maybe some shenanigans if we get anything, but it's basically the same process from the other video, which again, I'll try to link up here so you guys can see it. Took the shield off the belts, got the belts loose, pulled the 2 auger belts off, pulled the chopper belt off, it's down here. I took off the control for the hydrostatic, which bolts here and here. And then we will have to take this hydraulic hose loose. We'll take this hydraulic hose loose. We can leave the rest of them because we're going to put our channels up in here and let this put our channels back, slide this thing back, put the 2 couplers back in. We'll have to take a few up there loose. We have to take the muffler off, take this side piece right here off. We'll have to take that off. We gotta get in the grain tank. Gotta get in the grain tank, take the back panel off, back in there, and undo the drive shaft. It runs up and powers this. There's another gear case up in there. You can see the drive shaft right through there. There's the drive shaft. Taking the drive shaft off, it'll also give us time to grease that thing, get it greased. Yeah, that's oh. And we're going to unhook the batteries too and set them out of the way. We're not putting new hydraulic filters on it because those were put on new last year. And change them about every other year. And hopefully the seal's good in there when we get it out. If not, we'll change that too.
Yeah, we got a seal just in case it's not.
Yeah, because we do have a spare seal for the gear case on this side. And a lot of this old junk up here is just dust from where we combined the wheat.
Yeah, a little bit of farmers, we put it up dirty.
A little bit of junk up here. That's where I spilt some hydraulic fluid, topping the gear case off before we started. And I was gonna wash it before we got going. I just forgot to. So it is what it is.
We'll wash it when we put it up in there.
We'll get this deck washed off before we get going on cutting corn. That way we know if we spring another leak. And plus, I always like to clean all this junk out good to cut down on your fire hazards. So yeah, that's it for right now. We're gonna get back at it and we'll catch up in y'all a little bit. Well, we got everything apart. It's set for draining fluid. It's a good spot to stop for the night. We started this when we got home from work this afternoon.
Got shields off of it, got muffs off of it, got drive shaft off of it. Basically have to take up hoses off of it, drain the fluid, and should be ready to set apart. So I think we'll call it there for tonight. And we'll start back on it again in the morning, tomorrow. Welcome back. Day number 2, working on a combine. There for working on it still right now. Neighbor John come help today. Appreciate John. So he worked with Alex today. I didn't get off work until this afternoon late. So so far we are about 8 hours into this process. We are putting it back together now. Looks like it's gonna take about like usual, it'll take about 10 to 12 hours to get it apart and back together. So 10, 12 hours when you guys do this. Just show you the coupler. We're glad we swapped it out. So here's what we pulled out. If you remember the coupler you saw a minute ago, this one missing some chunks in it. Flip it around. So it's starting to come apart. And these here, see the wear spots on the rivet? That's where, when we got into there first time, one of the bolts had worked loose on the flywheel before we even got into it. So whoever had this combine for us had been in there, changed the seal out, and didn't torque one of those bolts down on the flywheel, worked loose and wore this out. So really glad we tore this thing apart, but I don't think it made it through harvest. So again, that's where we're at for today. Again, we use just like last time, we used the 2955. Picked her up on there. Picked the gear case up, took it off, put it back on. Fought with it some today, just like last time. But we got her apart, got her back together, and we should be finished with her tomorrow. And it's just taking a while. It's just a long process. Ain't nothing quick about it. And it really is a 2-man job. Better with 3 sometimes, but minimum 2-man job when it is. So we'll check back with you guys tomorrow. Oh, we can get test cut in here in a day or two, because we are getting close.
Welcome back to Mid-10. So, putting the gear case back together, hit a little snag. So we were changing the old dampener. If you can see right here, it's got chunks coming out of it, and it's swole up, so it's sitting higher than it should. That dampener was bad. We went and bought another one. I bought one over the winter. Couldn't find any new ones. I bought one out of a salvage combine. And I don't know, well, when we got to putting it together, we couldn't get the gear case side in right. And I don't know if we damaged it or if it was damaged when I got it. But down here in these threads, there's a very slight burr. And it was keeping the gear case from mating up to the motor. So we chunked this one just like this. It's garbage, complete garbage. Waste $800. Called around a bunch of places, found a brand new one in West Tennessee. The place had 2, Tennessee Tractor. Good people. They actually keep parts in for combines. And unless I was like in Illinois or Iowa, there's like 30 stores in each state that have multiple engine couplers. So yeah, yesterday was Saturday. That's what me and the wife and kids did all day long, was make a trip to West Tennessee. And, you know, we got the new coupler. Decided we'd just do some loafing. Hadn't done loafing with them in a while. Ain't gonna hurt nothing. But, as you can see right here, she is bolted back up. We have the brand new coupler in there, and it went together like a dream. No problem at all. And another thing, I talked to a ex-Deere mechanic / parts guy, and I asked for some tips and tricks on putting this thing together. And he said putting this gear case in, the thing should just slide right up, no big deal. So if you're having a beat, bang, whoop on it, you probably got burrs in your clutch, you're getting your splines cross-threaded, something like that. Pull it off and check it. That's how we figured out that one dampener clutch deal, whatever you want to call it, was bad. So me and Jesse just figured out, he's right here with me, see, damn, there he is. What we just figured out is, I had him take a big pipe wrench, a big adjustable wrench, and hook the nut. Show them back there.
We hook this nut right back here, like so.
Yeah.
And I had to work it back and forth.
I just had him wobble it right there.
So I turn it this way here.
We're just wobbling just a little bit.
That way your shaft turns throughout.
And we had the gear cases probably out about this far, probably about 2 inches from the face of this to the face of the motor. If you set ratchet strap down there, run up. So while he was wobbling that back and forth, I put just a smidge of tension on that ratchet strap, and she just started just scooting right together.
And there's a ratchet strap on this side too.
Yeah, and there's a ratchet strap on the other side with just a smidge of tension on it. And when we did that, boy, she just slid right together. But also, we put a healthy dose of anti-seize on the splines of the power shaft and the splines of the coupler.
And if you buy a used coupler, there's a trick where we messed up at. We set our coupler on the shaft, but didn't push it deep. You need to get in there and push it deep and make sure the shaft comes out.
Yeah, make sure the shaft can slide back and forth in the splines of that shaft, because that's how it works to engage your... That is your drive shaft runs your separator. So to engage that, I think it's this electrode right here, changes fluid. No, not this one. This one does unload and auger. So this one right here, it's becomes electric magnetized, and it lets fluid go in here, and I guess it's expand. No, it contracts your clutches. It lets all the clutches in here touch, so it engages that.
That's where we messed up at. We just didn't. We set it on there and stood on about halfway, and we thought it was good, and that was where the burr was at. We didn't know it. So when we started putting it together, we got fighting halfway in there. We didn't know why we wouldn't close up. So we took it back off and tried to slide it again, check it. That's when we found the burr, because it wouldn't slide over on there. This new one, put on there, it slid so deep, it's almost too deep in the gear case when we tried to test pick it. So be careful.
We had to get two big
hook in those spots.
Yeah. Well, I used a J hook like you used to pick an O-ring out. You used two of them, get behind it to get it back off.
But it slid in there fine.
Yeah, it slid too far back. We couldn't get our fat fingers behind it anymore. So she's back on there, and that's what we've been doing the last couple days, is trying to find parts and get this thing back together.
Struggle with this thing.
Yep.
We've done it before, and we knew we could do it again. It's just been a struggle.
Yeah.
Trying to figure out what was the issue with it. I mean, it wouldn't go all the way together.
So we got her whooped now, and it's we are going to bolt her back down. Got to put the bolts back in right here. Finish bolt the engine up, or the gear case up. We got the top bolts in just hand tight right now. We got to pull the ratchet straps, put the bond bolts in, and then put belts, hoses, put the power shaft back on.
And for you guys who haven't seen our first video, I'll throw a link up here in the top to the first video of how we took this off and changed the seals. So this is part of the seal changing in the gear case. So I'll throw that video up there, because that goes really in depth on that. And this is more kind of improvement on the last video. So if you guys have watched the last video, this is going to help the tricks we had putting it back together. Because like I said, we struggled with it, and we've done this. This will be the 4th time we've taken this off because of the seal issues last year. If you watch that video, you'll see.
Yep.
So we got it back together though.
Yep. Get a little better at it every time. So hopefully, fingers crossed, this is the last time we got to do this.
Hopefully we ain't got to be in there again.
Yeah. I'd like to go one full year without pulling this thing apart. So, yeah, we're going to bolt some stuff back up, and we'll catch back up with y'all in a little bit.
Got it running. Got it back together. No leaks so far. We're about to spray some degreaser on it, get all this stuff off of it so it's good and clean, so if we do have a leak, we can find it. If you guys do this, you will, we end up losing about a gallon of fluid that we end up having to put back in it. We caught most everything else, but lost about a gallon of hydraulic fluid. We're going to wash this thing off good, spray it off good, put some degreaser on it, get everything good and clean on it, and then I think we're done. So we're done. Ready to start cutting corn. We'll set the auger here in a minute. We'll wash out the radiator in this red dump truck so she won't get hot since it's turned off hot again. So we'll probably leave this a short video here just because we went through everything with basically changing this coupler out on it. And like I said before, if you guys have a question about what we took off, what bolts we did, go back to the other video, because that's a pretty long video. We didn't want to go in depth on this one. This is basically the issues we saw. We didn't really plan on filming this, but we come across some more tips and we wanted to throw it in, and I don't want to pull the other video down because it's got so many views and people have found it useful. So I'll try to tag these two videos together so they stick together. It ain't that hard to do. It is a 2-man job. It took us about, without trouble, it's gonna take about 8 hours to do this. Take it apart, put it back together. The longest part is remating everything. Making your gear case back to your motor. That's what the most difficult part is, just getting it to line up good. But we showed you a trick we used and went together pretty quickly this time. And then make sure you slide your coupler on that and slide it all the way up so the threads stick through the coupler to make sure it's right if you get a used coupler. That's where we messed up at and ruined that coupler. We got her fixed now, we got her running. We'll get her clean, and hopefully next video you'll see us in the cornfield. So if good Lord's willing, we'll catch you on the flip side. Till next.